The word game changer is used an awful lot about Tesla. This one might actually be a game changer. It's the Model 3 Performance. That kind of model is as fast as you can possibly get with an electric car range. And we're going to correct some other problems that other journalists have had, and some problems we probably cause on our own. Anyway, join me. Let's have a look around this Model 3 Performance. Okay, first things first, let's have a look around the outside. It's probably my least favourite part of the car, if I'm honest with you. Excuse the flies, as we massacred a monster amount of flies yesterday going up and down the motorway in this. We went all the way down to Limerick and Clare on the border, down to the lakes, and it was gorgeous. But look, let's look at the outside of this. This is, like I say, it's the frog face front of it, or the kind of droop look to it. I can't tell what the same guy who designed this designed some Mazdas and stuff. And there's another problem too. This, which is a towing eye, is a different colour to the rest of the car, and that really upsets my OCD in my brain. But forgetting the front of it for a minute, from the side profile, the kind of 3/4 angle, it's really nice. Like, it looks really well from the right angle. The American version without the number plate on the front actually looks worse. And when you come around to the side aspect of it, it looks really good. Like, there's a good sleek line there. I like the door, the way the doors kind of match up and blend between. And if I go in closer, you'll see in the B pillar there's actually a camera. This is where you can open the car from as well. I'll show you that in a minute. And then down here you have a camera on the side repeater here as well. 20-inch alloys, painted brake calipers. It's quite nice. Those 20-inch alloys are absolutely gorgeous. They really do set off the car very well. If I come around the other side, again, I'll give you another look at that front. This is the front trunk in Americanese. And down that side as well, a very pretty car. I love the curve towards the rear end of it here, where it just starts to branch out onto the door. That's the charging port, by the way. We'll open that in a minute. Actually, I'll probably open it now if I touch it. Yeah, it does. There she goes. Charging ports, all you gotta do is kind of press that to close it, but it actually closes itself when you're charging it. Sorry, Tesla people, I know I just upset you there. The door handles are kind of weird. Press your hand in towards like that and pull, and it opens up. It's very pretty. Best view of this car is actually from the back or side. This kind of close up front, look at it like this, doesn't make it look its best. It is still a pretty car, a challenging design, pretty car. I quite like it. Even in this white, I like it. Anyway, let's have a look on the inside and see what it's really like. Probably the first thing you'll notice about the car is that it's white in here. It's got an extremely white interior, okay? Really, really white. I'll show you what this is doing here. So key card here is required. Now, Tesla Ireland only gave me cards to run the car with, which are these little card things. I have two in here. So I don't actually have a key, and neither do I have access to the app. So the app that runs a lot of functions on Tesla, I don't have. You don't need all those things. You can run the car fine without it. But you put the little card here, and then you know that the machine is working up. So looking at a few other things. So just give the door down a clunk. It's good. It's a good clunk. The top half of the door here is frameless, so you get the glass just opens and the door is there on its own. But let's have a look at a few features inside the car. The very first thing you notice is that there's no dials whatsoever in this car in front of you. Everything is on this single screen here. Everything. There's nothing, no functions of the car, save for the wipers and indicators. The actual gears are over here, and so is the active cruise control. And then you have these two wheels, which are kind of multifunction. These wheels here that can do various things. They can do pretty much anything. You can adjust the mirrors, you can adjust your steering wheel, you can do all sorts of stuff from those wheels. The functions are donated by this, but pretty much everything comes from here. So I'm going to come to that in a minute. If I come down here towards the bottom, you've actually got lots of storage. That's my hand sanitizer. Underneath there is more storage. In front there's two cup holders. Down here there's a massive bin. I'm going to put that cable inside, right? So look, if you close that gently, it just closes fine. You don't need to worry about banging it. But I think it's overcomplicated. If you do bang it, it won't close. And then eventually it tells you close lid gently. And I know you kind of go, could you not just have a lid that just closes? Anyway, so that leaves you with a massive storage bin right here. This lifts up out of the way. You can get at your USB ports. There's 2 of them in there as well, by the way. And you can straddle the cable through here. Now, this place here is actually for your phone. And as far as I know, you can put that can be a wireless tray for charging, but you put your phone against that. It stays there very well, even under ferocious acceleration. You can pull that closed, but you can't close it down. There you are, right? So the 2 of them are closed now, and you can hide your phones, right? Now, it's a little overcomplicated. Seriously, Tesla, you could really just get rid of that and make it much simpler, much easier to use. Anyway, moving on up here, the glove box can only be opened from the console, which, like, when you go in here and you go glove box, and it opens the glove box over there, but there's no physical button to do that with. That's why. Why are you putting everything into that? I know it's brilliant, the system is great, but I just don't understand why you're putting everything. A correction for one of the reviews I've seen from a journalist in the UK who said you can only open the front trunk from the keys. That's not true. There is a button here that says open. It's on the dash, and open for the rear and open for the electric charge point. It's all actually here. When you're in park, all that becomes available to you. So that corrects that as well. So since I've had the car, done 424 kilometers, as you can see here. I've used 89 kilowatt hours of power, and then 210 watt hours per kilometer has come up here as well. Odometer is what I've done since the very beginning. That's my trip, right? So you can see I've actually done a fair bit of driving in it. Now, charging wise, you can actually see here when I've done the charging. So my last supercharge was €10. I actually used a supercharge yesterday in Bird Hill. If you follow me on TikTok or somewhere else, I think I tweeted about Bird Hill yesterday on TikTok. I'm on TikTok, by the way, if you want to get me there. This tells you what the battery condition is now, how far you can go. You can change the limit if you want to go down, you want to say trip or daily, anywhere in here. So you can say I only want to half charge the car every time I charge up. It'll be fine if that's what you want to use. You can go up here for kind of normal everything, and then when you go to this trip, you can go right to the 100% if you think you're going to do a long journey. I set it to 100 yesterday because we were literally driving to all the way down to Limerick Clare border to go to the lake down there and have a little swim. It was lovely. Anyway, that's the charging point. Also in here, you can go into entertainment and you can play video games. Fallout Shelter is very good, by the way. It's a good game. Stardew Valley. We like playing Beach Buggy Racing because you actually use the steering wheel to do that, to play that game. Some of the games are nearly unplayable if it's just using the steering wheel. You can use a controller here, but if you're using a steering wheel, things like Asteroids, the steering is just far too sensitive for that. Also, you can, sorry, I missed that, into theatre here, I can go into, I have to connect to Wi-Fi. Now, this is a right pain in the hole, this is, if I'm honest with you. This can be much easier dealt with, right? So, searching for Wi-Fi here. I'm going to let my phone be the Wi-Fi access point here. Don't do this while driving, kids. Personal hotspot. There we go. So you can see this, without the Wi-Fi, the car is useless at some things, like Netflix and Hulu. And, technology is an awful pain at times. It's taken a long time to find that Wi-Fi, even though it is there. I have turned it on. No, doesn't like that. Anyway, we'll come back to that. As you can see, technology kind of lets you down sometimes. The map system is brilliant. As you can see, you can pull it right out and see, if I turn Ireland the right way up, you can see there's 3 charge points in Ireland that are superchargers. They're always listed on the thing. And when you set them as a destination, the Tesla knows that you're going there and will precondition the battery for a supercharge. If I pan out a bit further, you can see how many of them there are in the UK, all the way up into Scotland. And if I push over into France, you can see more and more and more of them. And the further I pull out, you can see the more of those fast charge points or superchargers. You can see this is, there we go. You can see it's not going to appear. There it is, right. So wherever you go, this is telling you what you're looking at. It's actually an amazing system. It does very, very well. You can literally navigate and search and do all sorts of things from there. If you want to find all your charge points, it just goes, there's all the charge points that are superchargers near you. You can go down to those kind of ones. You can have a look at the ones that are destination chargers. You want to include them. And have the ones that are superchargers, fast chargers, and so on. It's very, very simple. What I do love is if I set a supercharger, as destination. You'll see here at the bottom it tells me I'll have 49% battery left when I get there and 23% left on the return journey. So as a round trip, okay, I'm going to cancel that. As a round trip, that's what will be left for me. That Tesla, honest to God, other car companies, you need to sort that stuff out. That's absolutely brilliant. Now, last few bits and pieces I'm going to show you in here. You can see the energy consumed on the consumption. Here's the consumption here, projected 302 kilometers range. You can see that's overnight, of course. Also, you can see things like the camera system, which shows us what's happening around the car. You can leave that on when you're driving, actually. Toy box also allows you to be able to do the fart jokes, as usual. Tracks, you can put on a little fireplace, you can do a sketch pad. The kids seem to like the sketch pad thing, which is kind of cool. You can draw your stuff on the screen. This all works while you're driving, by the way. You can send it up to Tesla. And other simple things, there's so much in this stuff, it's really easy. To open the trunk at the front, you just press the open button up here. It's really straightforward. This tells you how much mileage you got left here. The battery, you can change that into a percentage if you want. And also here, this little sweepy bar thing here tells you what's going on around the car. There's our pressure in all the tires, and there is what you can do with audio and stuff. Now, stuff that's not here, Apple CarPlay isn't here, Android Auto not here. Do I need it? I don't know. It's there and it's not there, and it's not really that necessary to have. It depends what you want to use it for. Actually, it's connected up to my phone now as the Wi-Fi thing. You can go in, hold on, entertainment, there you go, Netflix, YouTube, Twitch, Tesla tutorials. So you can go into YouTube here and you can bring it up on a screen and watch your YouTube videos while parked. This doesn't work while you're driving, obviously. Sorry to labour on about this. Is a fingerprint magnet, by the way, but sorry to labour on about this infotainment screen, but it is the only connection you've got with the rest of the car. Air conditioning wise, I have not needed for a single moment. There's What Car, look, reviewing the Tesla versus the Polestar. Maybe we'll get a go at that as well. I have not needed to worry about the air conditioning system, really. It's fine, it just does this, as you can see here. So you can put it on, you can leave it on dog if you want to, you can put it on camping, so if you're going to stay out. But you can just put it on auto, and you can adjust these things here. See how I'm adjusting them like that, look? Not cool? But you can just leave that on auto. We put it on 20.5 degrees, and we never really changed it again. The air conditioning system is very, very good in this, and does work very well. So there's very little you can do. Think iPad, think interface device with the entire car. It really does work. The letdown in the front here is this little pad. This thing here looks like it's an add-on. Look, I can take it out. It's just a rubberized pad for holding your phone, and underneath it looks a bit weird. And it's very scratchy looking, as you can see from the phones being put on it. But as a pad for holding your device, it works very, very well. As you can see, you just put my device in there and it all works fine. Okay? Anyway, now we've looked at all this, and just let me have one last little bit with you, because we're going to go to the back seat next. When I open the door here, you notice I'm not stopping or starting the car. It's going to stay on. It'll stay on until I lock it. It doesn't care for your buttons and stuff. You don't need them. Just press the button, open the door, walk away, lock the car from the outside, and it turns off. So back seat, the door actually opens quite wide in this, and when you get in, you can see I've got plenty of room, and I've set this up in quite a relaxed version here in front of me. The seats are just a dingy bit hard, just ever so slightly. I wouldn't really worry about it too much. We drove, like I said, we drove 400 kilometers this thing the other day, and it was fine. You do get a nice little center armrest here. You put your elbow on it. There's no load through here, and these seats do fold down, and they are flat into the boot, and it's really easy. Like that's a very simple way of doing that. The seatbelt does get a little bit caught behind the seat when you put it back up, but that's okay. I can live with that. The glass roof in here, a lot of people talk about this. Again, I want to make a correction. The glass roof is actually stronger than metal. The chances of rolling this car is really low because all the batteries are in the bottom. So this is very unlikely to have any stress on it. But even so, that glass is harder than metal, so it's probably never going to break. And when it does, or if it does, or someone puts a hammer through it, which is a different story entirely, this shatters into a million pieces. So it's not that it can't break, it's that its chances of breaking are very, very low. This is really comfortable back here. You don't get any controls or the vents back here. You do get two normal USB ports, and it all works absolutely fine, and the kids had a lovely time here. It's very bright, very airy interior, and very nice. And when you open the door again, you just press the button and she opens. That's it. Let's have a look at the boot. So the back door leads you round to the back of the car, and you get this spoiler on the back of the performance model, which is carbon fibre. I'm assuming it pushes the car further down. Now, one thing I want to show you is in the back light here, there's a little bit of water, and I'll show you a close up of that. That's been there since we got it, and every time it rains, that starts to fill up a little bit. Not necessarily water, but condensation's coming through. Now, that would be a warranty issue, so you come back and get that fixed. You don't want condensation inside there, because it will constantly be there. It probably won't break the lights, but it looks horrible. Now, boot lid, as you notice, this is not a hatchback. It's technically a saloon. So they have not made the glass liftable. They just open the boot as normal. That's okay. The boot opening is actually quite large, and the boot itself is big. Between the front trunk and the rear trunk, you've got over 400 litres of space. So plenty of space inside. And as you can see into the boot, it's a long way back into the dark hole back there. There is some LED lights, but just so, right, let's be practical for a second, because we're testing this as a car here, not just an electric car. There's no 12-volt socket in the boot. So if you've got a little refrigerator and you want to bring your picnic with you, there's no way of charging it here, and there's none in the car even. I couldn't find any 12-volt sockets. Also, no USB port back here, no power back here in any way at all to power anything, right? There's no shopping bag hooks. There's no tie-downs. This boot is just a hole to put things in. So underneath here you have a bigger hole to put things in as well, and there is a charge cable in there. Now, that charge cable that came with this car is a granny cable, and it's useless to me because I have a tethered EV box charger at home, so I don't really need that for home. But for street charging, I can't charge my 22 kilowatt charger on street. Not that you're going to need it. We'll get into the charging part after. Now, the boot is the kind of let down to the whole thing. Plenty of space inside. You can fit everything you want in here, but there's nothing else. It's just a space to put things in, and this space isn't really, you know, you get stuff in here, but it's not very big. Again, this is just a pull close, not an electric tailgate. You don't need an electric tailgate, it's fine. Closes really easy, right? And opens. Like, it's on rams, so it's fine. Works fine. Anyway, let's get on with a little bit of a drive. So you notice whenever I get in the car that it's already turned on, right? Because that's the way it does it. So the minute you unlock the car, it turns it on, and it cools the cabin. You can set that up inside the system, so if you're charging at night or whatever, you can have the car preconditioned to go before you get ready to go in the morning. Now look, I've put my foot in the brakes, so I was looking for the key card again. If you have the keys or the app on your phone, you probably won't see any of that. Right, drive is just down, one, go. That's it. No ceremonious kind of start up, wait for it to warm up, nothing. It's just go. That's pretty much it. Now, to drive, there's a number of settings, and this is another problem I have with this car. It's a minor problem, but it really does irk. If you want to be in sport mode, you have to go this, driving, and then you have chill, sport, comfort standard, sport for the steering, regenerative braking, and down here you have track mode and customize and slip start and all that sort of stuff. But if you want to get into any of that, you have to use the touchscreen. I want a button. Can you not give me a big red boof sport button? That's what I really want, is a button to press that would just make it go fast when I want it. Now, other stuff, I'm hoping this camera can pick it all up here. You can see that this screen here is giving me information about the side of the road, the actual lines. There's a yellow marker up there at the top corner as well. The other car in front of me that's up there. It sees pedestrians crossing in front of you. It sees pedestrians on the side of the road. It's actually an amazing system. Really is the future, so to speak. The future, but the present at the same time. The software behind it is outstanding in every respect. Now, from a safety aspect, I would prefer if I had a blind spot detector on the mirrors, or at least on the sides of the car where my eye is looking. So as I'm driving along here, I'm not looking at that, I'm looking out there, I'm looking over there. I want to see what's in the blind spot when you're being overtaken on the motorway. But you can see the amount of information you can get from the little screen that's in the middle here, and of course you can keep that up in front of you as well. Now I can put my Spotify on this, I can put my detail on radios and favourite stations, it's all there. We'll worry about the entertainment system afterwards. It's just more the technical point of driving. Now I currently have it in chill, and I kind of like the steering in comfort. See, that's not blind spot, but that's a distance detection system that's come on there. Now it's starting to read the road now, you see. If I get close to that car there, if he stops. No, he's not stopping. No, not stopping. It actually tells you the distance to the car in front of you in centimetres. So anyway, I prefer the car to be set up, as you can see here, if I go into driving. There we go. I like it in chill and comfort for the steering, which is quite nice. And then regenerative braking in standard, because I want all the free electricity you can give me. Thank God. It's actually very efficient at getting electricity back from regenerative braking. So you get two braking systems essentially on the car. The regenerative braking, which is when you decelerate, when you lift off, the brakes are applied, but the brakes are being used, or well, the braking system, the motor system inside, is pulling energy back into the battery system. Then the actual brake, that's the other pedal that's in there as well. You can press that if you want to brake it a bit faster. And now I'll show you, regenerative braking is when I do this, the brake lights will come on in the back. You can actually see them there. They'll pop on the screen as well. So it is actually braking for itself. Everybody points and stares at this car. Children come running across from the other side of the room to go, oh, look at Tesla. It happens all the time, everywhere you go. Yesterday, you have to run away from the car, essentially, when you get out. So when you're getting out or getting in, you have to kind of get in and just drive off. Or get out and just run away and let people take pictures of it. Because essentially you'll stand there for the next 20 minutes answering questions about Tesla if you don't do it. Now, if I go into standard mode here on the steering, it weights up. If I go into sport mode, it sharpens up and weights up. So it's like a little tiny turn on the steering wheel, and you're in comfort. It's much lighter and much slower turning. So you're actually sharpening up the steering. You're not sharpening up the throttle response or the engine response until you go into sport mode on that. So when I press the accelerator, you get a certain amount of resistance. When you do that in sport, which I'll do in a minute, well, your face tries to come off as you're driving on the road. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is dealt with in a tiny bit over 3 seconds. It feels quicker. It is surreal when you're accelerating. It is like a PlayStation game. I do find that. I'm not really keen on that bit. It's fun, and everybody in the car goes, wow, and their heads get fired back. But you only do that for the first couple of goals. And then after a while, it's like, God, it's just turning to chill. I just want to drive. Now, I'm going to bring it out in the motorway and show you what I'm talking about when it comes to range and when it comes to what you can do here with charging-wise. Now, I have Balacalla supercharger not far from here. I don't need a charge up. 379 kilometers. I don't need to charge up. I'm not going to charge up again. Superchargers are brilliant. And let me explain to you that Tesla are the king of long-range driving. The king bar none, right? There comes a point we just stop thinking about charging the car, and yesterday was one of those points. We drove down, we spent a day at the lake, messing around, swimming and playing, and so we didn't even think about it. On the way back, we had Bird Hill, plugged it in for about 20 minutes, and zoomed on home. I didn't have to, I could have made it home on that one charge, just want to see what it was like. So look, we're coming onto a motorway here. I'm going to drop down, put in sport, nothing behind me. Drop down the speed just on the entry ramp. You see what I'm talking about. Down to 25 kilometers an hour. Go. Oh, jeez. Neck. That really kills you. Look, you're already doing the speed limit. That's like insane speed. It turned the camera. So it managed to knock the camera off center there as we do it. And you can see that we are going now at the speed limit. Active cruise control, that is active standard. I'm doing 120 here. If I want, this has autopilot on as well, not full self-driving autopilot, but autopilot. So if I go twice onto that system, it turns it on. It tells me to keep my hands on the wheel. You see some yellow cones going up here. It's going to know them. It'll register them. You can see them there. And the car is now essentially driving itself. It will not change lanes. It will keep me stable and steady within this lane, just having a light touch on the steering wheel. But if I let go of the steering wheel, it's going to tell me to put my hands back on the wheel. It will remind me every once in a while. The system is actually pretty good. I don't know if I'd bother. It's $7,000 for autopilot. Do you want it? Like, that's a lot of money. That's a small hatchback second hand, like, for just autopilot on this. So, dealing with a couple of other things, would I want to keep a performance model? See that now indicated overtake here, so I've knocked off the active cruise control now. But would I want to keep a performance model, or would I prefer having longer range. I think longer range would be my preference. I'd prefer to go further on a single charge than to go faster all the time, which is what essentially performance model is able to do. Truly, I love this car. I think it's the best electric car on the road today. Now, that may change over the course of the rest of this summer into autumn, as we get Volkswagen ID3 coming on board. A Polestar is out. That probably won't come to Ireland right now. It's very, very low numbers and that. So there's just so much going on in this field. I don't think that Tesla will be able to keep its lead. They'll be able to keep that future turning over the whole time of new models coming out. I'm anxious to see Model Y, but they're restricted. They're so restricted on their supply. It just seems to take a long time for these models to come out. And that's okay. But we talk about them for so long that this is definitely the best you can buy today. If you're buying an electric car right now and you can afford this car, of which I'll put the prices up on the screen for you because prices might be different in your country, but this car is, well, nearest makes no difference over 60 grand. Like, it ain't cheap. It definitely isn't a cheap car. You could definitely get an internal combustion engine car at this spec with most of the stuff that you see on this car for less money. For sure. But Tesla, when you want to go a long way, you want to go very far, there's nothing else like a Tesla. Really, honestly, truly, it manages to just cushion out everything and go anywhere you want to go. But I want to just do one last few little bits and pieces in it. So this has sport mode turned on now, and I'm going to put in sport steering as well. And I'm going to take the regenerative braking down to low, so I have more prediction going through each corner. This corners really, really well for an electric car. Most electric cars are pretty crap to drive. This is actually pretty good to drive. Now, covering ground, there's a car overtaking another car in front of me. Covering ground in this is quite easy. Like, you just squirt and go. It really is that straightforward. Just literally halfway down, even a quarter way down on that accelerator pedal, and you are hoovering up road. And yes, on the motorway it is really comfortable, really easy to drive, really straightforward, and really simple to keep going all the time. The little wheels here allow me to adjust the cruise control. It's not 80 kilometers here, it's 100 kilometers an hour here. That's reading it wrong. And I noticed that yesterday a few times. It reads a few road signs wrong along the way. I'm not sure why. It seems to have a problem with reading the odd road signs here and there. Maybe it's just the Irish road signs or whatever, but it really is kind of frustrating when you're zooming along the road and the car's telling you you're speeding when you're not. Bit of turf there, boss, in the back of that. So is Tesla the best car company? No. Is Tesla the best car on the road? No. Is Tesla Model 3 the best new car? No. It's not new for a start. It's been around for about 3 years. But this version, because the versions do actually update, and the last update is not long after going by actually, and I see complaints that some people's range has dropped in the last update. Nobody seems to be really too bothered about that apart from the new entries into Teslas. But this Tesla, they got a great head start, a fantastic head start, and they've got some brilliant cars. I absolutely love Model X. It's a lovely car, weird looking, like this is weird looking, but it's such a cool car. It does so many cool things. This Tesla Model 3, this makes them a little bit more affordable, a little bit better in your pocket. I would go for the long range ones. I don't like those covers over the wheel, they look thick, but you know, if you want to get the best range out of them, that's kind of all you can do to make that happen. If I take it out of sport mode, put it back into chill, comfort, and put on the brake in the standard, the whole car just calms right down. It's easy, it's predictable to drive. You know, someone who's not experienced at driving won't mind driving it in chill mode, you'll be fine. By the way, a little tip, don't reverse in sport mode. If you reverse into a space, put it in chill before you start, because it goes back as fast as it goes forward. It just shoots back really quickly. This is brilliant. This is broadband. This is fiber broadband. This is as good as you can get with electric cars currently today. This is brilliant. It won't stay that way forever. I think this will be caught very quickly. I think Volkswagen Group are really investing heavily on their end. Yes, I know software issues. Yes, I know delivery issues. Yes, I know manufacturing issues. Yes, coronavirus had a big effect there. Don't worry about it. They're going to release soon, and then we'll have some competition in the market. Some of the more affordable ones, like the Peugeot E208, brilliant car, absolutely brilliant. But if you want to know that you're going to make your destination in Ireland no matter what, this is the car. This is it. This is the pinnacle of what you want. Forget the naysayers say, oh, I want a Speedo here in front of me. It's fine, it's there, right? If you really want to look Tesla, you want a little bit of advice, some of the things I would get, I don't know if anyone from Tesla actually watches these videos, but here's where I think you need to be, right? Why don't you put a projector in there that gives me a heads-up display? That answers that question, right? That's the end of that conversation about having the Speedo here in the middle. Simple. I mean, that tech is available today, right now. No effort whatsoever. 2, I think the dampers on the back of the car aren't damping enough, quite enough, especially in sport mode. When you put it in sport and you put your foot down, the whole world feels like it's going backwards, but the whole car feels like it's sat down on its rear end. It's okay, but it could be better. I'd increase the damper projection by about 10%, 6 to 10%, somewhere in that region. Like if I go in sport mode now, just slow right down, nothing coming. There's cars coming the other way, but there's nothing coming behind me. Now watch. The whole car just sat down at the back. My neck won't come up. It's insane amount of speed. And you are flying it before you even know what happened to you. It's just so quick, but it's also so effortless. There's no noise. There's a slight whine from the engine. It's just whoop, and off she goes. It is an outstanding piece of kit. I strongly advise you to get a spinning one, a going one, and put your love of the brand in your back pocket for a minute and have a look around. Build quality, grand. Everything works fine. There's no big creaks or panel gaps or anything else in the car that's any worse than anyone else. They're all about the same, much of a muchness these days. I would put my money into a Tesla if I was going to buy electric right now. I think they have the best system sorted out, the best long-range drive, the best of pretty much all of it. They've figured out everything you need. This is a bit overcomplicated. I would like a couple of buttons here and there that make some sense, but you'd get used to it after a while. Sometimes I still get in and go, how do you open the glove box again? Or how do you open the front trunk? There's always a moment in your head where you go, hang on, there's a button here that does that there somewhere. And it can be hard in that respect, but it works, and it works pretty well. Okay, if you've got something to say in the comments, and I can hear those comments already, there's so much misinformation in this video. It's one of the first comments I said it goes up. Anyway, if you've got something to say, stick it in the comments. I'll see if I can get an answer out to you. You can find me on TikTok. I do little videos there, not always about cars, but I do little videos there for the crack. I'm also on Instagram and on Twitter and wherever you want me to be. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you can support the channel from the list of links down below. There's PayPal, Patreon, which would be really good if you could turn into a patron. It really does help support the channel in a big way. And then there's channel memberships here on YouTube as well if you want to do that. The take is lower. YouTube takes a bigger cut of that, just so you know. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. That shouldn't affect you whatsoever. It's still a great way to support the channel. I will be bringing out some more t-shirts and some more merch and things later on in the year. I know lots of you are looking for new t-shirts and stuff now. So I'm going to design some new ones and put them out later on in the year. And the Sunday service will return in August, at some point during August. And we'll get that back on the road as well. Thank you very much for joining me. And until the next time, I will see you on the far side.